next couple ones are on as well. Hi, Maha. I think I see you over there too.
I don't see Maha. Where is she?
It just shows me that she's
Yeah,
on.
hi, I'm here. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I want to see your pretty face. Where are you?
Oh, I'm still in my BJ's. Sorry, Sherry.
Oh, never mind.
All right. So you guys, the point of the power hours is to talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the market, specifically in relation to your office. So we're going to talk about some of the MLS codes that you guys service and what some stats are. So I put a few slides in, but really this is meant to be collaborative, give your guys an opportunity to kind of talk with each other and us about what you're seeing. What are your buyers talking about in the market? What are you hearing from your sellers? What are you seeing in the rental market, et cetera? So I'm going to start by actually sharing some of the slides first to kind of go through a little bit of it with you. Curtis, can you see my slide? Perfect. I am limited. I cannot see you guys anymore. So feel free to just interrupt me if you want to chat. So we wanted to get started by talking about some of the stats and what has been happening in 3 of the main areas you guys work in the Gold Coast office, the near north side, Loop, and the near south side. So I used InfoSparks for this, which I hope you guys are all very, very familiar with. If not, Nakia is going to be leading a training on InfoSparks, or I'm sorry, Q&A session with MRED in February, I think is when that one is. So we're going to be able to answer any questions on that. But I kind of wanted to pull up 2 types of data. One is overall data, right? So if you put everything in a boiling pot, those are the first 4 data points. And then I also wanted to pull up new construction, all properties, so condos and single families included in that, just to kind of give you guys idea of where early 2020 started. So January 2020 started, and then where it ended, and specifically with condos in that upper bracket. So as you can see, the median sale price for the near north side went down quite a bit. So a little bit over 30,000 it went down in. The Loop, it actually went up quite a bit year over year. So the beginning of 2020 versus the end of 2020. And the near north side also went down a little bit as well. I thought that the average days on market were interesting, right? With the 92 days, so basically near north side stayed even, but the Loop actually went down quite a bit from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, and the near south side went down a lot. So I'm not sure if that's kind of what you guys have been seeing or feeling with your buyers or sellers, but numbers don't lie. And then the shows to contract, which I thought was pretty on par with what we expect in these 3 marketplaces. And then one of the things I know we've talked about is the overage of inventory and how much supply there is downtown in these 3 areas in specific. So I know Sherry's on the call. I know Maha, Mary, I think I saw you. Is this kind of congruent with what you guys are seeing and hearing from your clientele right now?
Who wants to, do we raise our hand?
Go for it, Sherry, go for it.
No, because I'm finally getting busy, so I'm getting a kind of feel for what's going on out there. The figures, I used to do a report like this the end of the year. The median sales price is kind of an arbitrary figure because it all depends on what price range of things sold. So like in the Loop, if it went up on an average, it's because probably bigger units sold as opposed to cheap, like smaller, less expensive units. It's just kind of not, I don't think, a realistic way to look at it. But anyway, I'm listing something in Ma's building, right at 60 East Monroe, an old client of mine who's going to retire from her in-town apartment. And there's how many Maha, like 15, 20 on the market, but they're not all in the same price category.
Yeah, we have over 20 actually.
Yeah, and then I talked to another client of mine who lives at the Palmolive who would like to maybe retire this year or next year and buy something smaller to travel. And she said there's 15 on the market and no one's going to want to live on Michigan Avenue anymore. And so I sent her a long email and I said, I know that you can feel that way looking at but they don't understand, that if a buyer was looking at the Palmolive, they're looking in probably 1 or 2 or 3 units in their price range and their view. They're not looking at all 15. They're all different sizes. They're all different places. And I really feel from everything I'm reading that depending on how quickly we can get people vaccinated, that the market is going to really rebound quickly and downtown will eventually come back. It's going to take a while because of all the retail, and now we have to worry about more crime and vandalism for a while. But, I think by mid-year we'll be, people won't be so negative. I mean, we've just come out of such a tough year with, the downtown market. That thing with Carr, the presentation with Carr and, Gail Listener and the other one from Realtor.com really talked about why people don't want to live in these high rises downtown right now, but they'll come back. I mean, Chicago's a vital city, as New York is. And I really, I think it's just like everything, a perception right now. And it's up to us to kind of talk about how that's all it is and why it is and how we'll come out of it eventually. But it's definitely going to affect, there's a glut of upper bracket places on the market in the Gold Coast. And the things I'm seeing come on are all huge. People selling big apartments, wanting to go stay in their vacation place or move to the suburbs or buy in Lincoln Park, a big house, or, and that's going to, we still have to, once we get through the pandemic and we can, they'll want to live in high rises again. Right now, that's not the ideal place to live.
I think that's a good point, Sherry, that you made about, I think I'm hearing an echo. Hold on one sec. Could everyone mute real quick? Sorry. Otherwise, I think I'm going to be still echoing.
There we go. Sorry, Nakia, could you talk instead, please? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why there's an echo for me.
I think what's important, Sherry, to your point, some of those niche buildings and those particular buyers are going to be very particular in focus. When we look at the market as an overall strategy, the inventory levels are up. And, we haven't seen this inventory level since, 2010 and earlier. So really, I think the discussions need to be is how are you marketing these properties? Because your strategy is going to have to be different than it has been in the past. We've been in a seller's market really for the last 24 months or so in most of the city. So when we're looking at these particular areas, your strategy is going to have to be different. Are you leveraging listing concierge? Are you leveraging, the special videos that talk about the neighborhood and all of that fun stuff? I mean, that's really the conversation we should be having about how is life going to be slightly different until we're back to that, under 4 month supply of inventory as an example.
I just wanted to add that all of a sudden, I think the other encouraging thing is that, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't hear about anybody relocating to Chicago all year. And then I just heard of, in fact, I'm going to meet those buyers. I've heard of 3 or 4 people who are working with people coming back. They're coming from New York, from California. So people are moving into Chicago again. I'm like so excited because they haven't for a long time.
Yeah, and I think, when we look at the median sales price as an example, those are pretty much, and I have InfoSparks up, you guys know. If you don't know, I love data, so I'm always a fan of chatting about data. Our median sales price as of December in near North Loop and near South Side, all of those are up. Now, whether you like median or average, I'll switch over to average. Those are, near North Side is down if we look at averages, but that's also skewed by the big swings or the big sales or the low sales in that regard as well. So I encourage you guys, if you haven't taken that InfoSparks class, this is the time that you've got to become an expert in both InfoSparks and Remine. I think leveraging CBX, finding where the buyers are around your listings is going to be a key product for you to take those courses as well.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, of course.
Hello, Gold Coast. I have missed you all. It is great to see you. I actually got to see a few of you on Friday when I was in. But, I think we're going to see, actually, someone I was just talking to probably about 30 minutes ago was saying, hey, I'm doing a great job of collecting listings. Now what? And yes, we see that in the inventory. But to your point, Sherry, yes, there are jobs that are coming back to the city, people that are relocating here. And like my very rosy outlook on things, and I would say I'm jaded at times. I would say I'm a glass is half full, but also half empty mentality. Everybody is so sick of being at home. And what we saw was this huge push for second home markets in vacation areas that really have bubbled. The Michiana area, Wisconsin, anything that is a lakefront property, people are paying, I think, unsustainable prices for those markets when the world opens back up. And the things that have always made downtown living desirable, restaurants, theater, lakefront, like anything to do, our parks, movies in the park, those kinds of things are going to be huge drivers. I think we'll also see the resurgence of the pied-à-terre, like people who have been hunkered down in their large, expansive suburban dwellings will want to be downtown because you got sick of the same 3 carry-out restaurants in your suburban town and you really just want to be out and around people. I anticipate that's going to be happening sooner than widespread vaccination. A few of you have heard me talk about this before, and it's really, the idea of the first day of spring in Chicago is not really the first day of spring. In a normal year, it hits like 42 degrees, and suddenly if it's sunny, everyone's like, we're going outside. Like, who needs a coat? And you can't get an outdoor table to save your life. I think we are going to start seeing that eagerness, I think confidence. Quite frankly, even though COVID numbers across the country are up and we do know we're coming after the holidays, Chicago has been a very responsible city. We're not seeing the huge spikes that we have seen elsewhere. So I think we will start to see in the downtown area an earlier reentry to the market. I think we will actually have a proper spring market. We kicked off last year and then basically put it on hold, and the rest of spring market was like, hello July, hello August. This year, I think we'll start to see more and more steady gains. That inventory is going to start getting absorbed. I think your 1-bedrooms and your studios are probably going to take a little bit longer. So for those of you who are finding you're getting listings on 1s and studios, that pied-à-terre is not going to be the appeal in February. That's going to be your, I would say, late summer product. What does that mean to do with it? Get it on the PLN. There are people who are going to start talking, start looking. They're going to want the deal. The deal is more likely, when you're talking to your clients, is going to happen before the city reopens. As soon as people are widely vaccinated, everybody's feeling more comfortable, I think we're going to see bigger spikes in interest on those. Overall, though, I think your 2, your 3-bedroom, your single family, I think still has demand, but that 2- and 3-bedroom condos, since I know many of you are listing a lot of high-rise units, are going to come back. Our top end of the market is going to take longer. There's just a lot of inventory there, and I think it's going to take a little bit longer. But especially in the mid price points, high mid price points, I would say if you're under 1.3, you're still going to see movement, especially if you have that larger floor plate. Oh, Sherry, you're muted, but I see it looks like you're talking. Oh, still muted. Let me see if.
Okay. I was just going to say, when you look at pendings, I look at the hot sheet every morning well, I look at new listings at the end of the day, and then I look at the hot sheet in the morning. But if you look at pendings, there's a lot of stuff going under contract. I mean, Gary, let's look at our Gary. Everything he puts in the MLS gets sold in a day. And it's just about marketing and that listing concierge. I don't mean to sound like a blow, I don't want to, nobody paid me here, but I'm a firm believer in it because it just exposes it everywhere. I mean, I got an e-blast last week on Gary's new listing at Harbor Point that he just sold. It was on Facebook today. And I thought, well, God, that format is so gorgeous. And I said to him, what format did you use? Because it didn't look like the MLS. He said, I have no idea, because he doesn't do it. His assistant does it. So he found out for me it was the one that Listing Concierge sends out to the people who have had sales in that zip code. And it was like gorgeous looking. I thought, okay, good. I'm a believer,
I think that's Gary's personal condo.
What?
I think that's Gary's personal condo.
Oh, you're kidding. Well, he didn't say agent owned in the MLS. I don't know. Is it really? I thought he had a bigger unit there.
No, I mean, I know his place was listed, and I'm assuming,
Oh, no,
because
it
I
was
just talked to him the
gorgeous.
other day, and he said he was just feeling the market because he just bought the unit next door.
Ah,
So
okay.
I think that was his unit.
Yeah, I'll check. I don't know. I didn't notice.
Yeah,
But
he has that building that he lives in.
right.
He
Sewed
has,
up.
yeah, it's incredible. He's done well.
No, he's on social media all day long, and you have to be with stuff that people care about, not, like about the market, about the world, about Chicago, or about, it has to be other than just yourself. I mean, I just
Right.
don't think nobody cares about, seeing me every day,
Well,
I
we
wish
care
somebody-
about
I
seeing
wish
you.
somebody
Of
did.
course we do, Sherry.
Okay, go,
Why do you
Kurt.
think I came on?
Thank you.
But Sherry, that was a really great point about listing concierge. And so the email you were probably talking about is called the update, which goes out every Friday to agents who have recently sold in that MLS code. And it's just a hugely powerful tool, just one of like the 12 that come in with
No, it's
listing
really
concierge.
nice.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Maha, I know that you're on. I know you don't want to come on camera, but what are you hearing on your end from, I know you just listed, I believe, a rental unit. Congratulations. How are you feeling about that part of the market?
Well, actually, I put it on like because of the rental. It's and first of all, we have like many rentals here in the building that it's been on the market for a long, long time. This specific rental should be listed for at least like 3,500. The owner asked to reduce it to 2,900, and after even few days, he said to me, "Reduce it more. I just want to rent it." I put it on the place market on Facebook. I got like a couple leads. I start to have like showings. So I told him to hold on reducing it. But really, we have a high inventory of rentals.
Yeah, I think that's something we've been seeing, and Nakia and I have been speaking with Michael Cairo about it too, because as you guys know, he runs the rental division out of our West Loop office. I think he's been to a few office meetings with Gold Coast back when we could have those in person. But a lot of what we're seeing is because a lot of the rental buildings are offering, 3 months free here, 4 months free here, 5 months free here, and it's really causing agent listed rentals to slow down quite a bit, or like you mentioned, Maha, dropping price. I mean, I know my own personal rental, not in these market areas, but Ravenswood, he dropped probably by $450 before we ended up renting it, and that was more October. So as the rental season was kind of dipping anyway, but I also have been seeing that the rental season has really skewed, right? Because so many landlords who would have had vacancies in March, April, May went month to month during the stay-at-home order with their tenants, or just sign new leases or extended leases. So I'm interested to see what that means for this year, if there's going to be some skewed start dates, if March isn't going to necessarily be as robust as it typically has been for start dates, based on that. And we saw a lot of inventory stay on November, December, and into January, and still hasn't moved. Let's see, Mary, I think you're on as well still. What have you been hearing out in the marketplace, or seeing, or reading?
I'm actually new. I've just been really doing the trainings online. So I'm just taking in information right now.
Perfect. Well, welcome. You get to meet
Thank
some
you.
of your colleagues here in the Gold Coast office. So thanks for being here.
No problem. You're welcome.
One of the things I did want to highlight, I'm going to share my screen again, you guys, because I don't know if you saw that Inman article about luxury that came out literally today, early in the morning. But there was a big luxury announcement with Coldwell Banker. So our very own Craig Hogan was quoted in this article. I'll send you guys the slides so you can click on the article to read it. But Coldwell Banker is now partnering with James Edition, and it will also go on Bloomberg. So all of your global luxury listings, so any listing priced over $1 million or more, is automatically going to syndicate to jamesedition.com and have placement on Bloomberg's property marketplace, among some other things that are exciting. But you know, Sherry mentioned being online, right? And you just got to give people what they want and have that social media presence. James Edition gets over 550 high volume buyers a month that go onto their site, and it produces 12 million impressions worldwide. And Bloomberg's has over 75 million users across the globe with an average net worth of 1.7 million. So as you're doing those listing presentations using Listing Concierge, of course, all of the phenomenal places that Listing Concierge sends out your client's listing. But now any listing appointment you go on that's over $1 million, this is a huge value add to your clients to be able to put this information in there, have this data at hand, and make sure that they know that Coldwell Banker nationally has really made this initiative for our global luxury properties, and we have an exclusive with that. So that's a huge thing. I'm not sure if anybody else saw it, but I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention because this is a huge news, especially in your office specifically. And then before I guess we keep chatting, one of the things Nakia and I wanted to make sure we brought into this Power Hour were the year-end numbers that we were able to get late last week. And we wanted to put some stuff together for you guys to kind of get a hold of where December ended for your top 5 agents and then where it ended for top overall in the top 5. And I'm going to be sending this out in an email as well, as we always do for you guys. But huge props to everybody. Zachary Kronsnobel is newer in the offices and got into number 2 spot for December top agents. So huge ups to Zach. I'm not sure if you guys have ever met him, but I know he comes into the office occasionally to work. And of course we have Matt Shrake, John Crosilla, and Giovanni Laverde as well for the month of, and Chezzy Raffaele for the month of December. And then overall, you know, of course, we mentioned Gary's name, so Gary's in there as well. Number 3, Matt and Chezzy taking 1st and 2nd place, John at 4th, and Giovanni at 5th for the year overall. So a huge congratulations to you guys. A year like none other, which I'm sure we're all really sick of hearing, right? But it's a huge accomplishment, as always, to get into the top 5 for the month and for the end of the year. So we wanted to be sure to congratulate you guys and recognize you for that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick and go back to seeing your guys' faces. Really, that's about all we had for you guys that was in PowerPoint slides. You know, we really want you guys to take the opportunity to kind of chat as well and let us know what you're seeing. We certainly do not have to take the whole hour, but I see we have Doug with Guaranteed Rate Affinity on. Doug, do you want to kind of talk to us about how like the lending landscape changed so dramatically last year, what we're seeing for upcoming this year, what some of the projections are, and how our agents can kind of take that information and relay it out to their buyers and sellers?
Yeah, and I'll speak to even something that's happened just in the last hour with the bond market. Because of all the volatility in the political landscape in the last week or two, there's been a lot of volatility in the rates in the market. And I think we just got an update from our internal director of capital markets that he was holding off on giving us our daily update until he saw what the 10-year Treasury was doing. And it looks like there's a lot of bonds coming back into the market, and a lot of that. Basically what that means is rates will continue to, or will start to improve again. But overall, I think the only thing that's going to help the economy recover from what's been going on in the last year is that rates remain low. So the Fed is committed to doing whatever they can to keep the interest rates low, because that's housing is really and mortgage rates are really what is going to be the catalyst in improving in recovering in the market, in the economy.
That's a good point. Thanks for giving us that update. Are you seeing any loosening of employment verification. I know like during COVID, you guys pivoted the opposite direction, rightfully so, not you guys specifically, but lending
Right.
became really strict with employee verification. That caused a little bit longer delays on getting to that closing table, in part because so many of the HR staff was either laid off or furloughed.
Right.
Is that starting to loosen up a little bit, or are we still pretty gun shy on it?
It's not loosened up yet. I think once we begin to see a little light at the end of the tunnel with regard to the impact of the vaccinations, I think we'll begin to see that improve. But because the unemployment market is the unemployment numbers are still kind of uncertain, they really have not improved. It's definitely difficult. Self-employed borrowers is also, there's a lot of added steps where we've created kind of our own little internal department to do self-employment income analysis, because we're the rainmakers. The more time we spend looking at documents and doing all that kind of stuff takes us away from what we do best. So they've created this department so that we fill out a couple of forms, we get the documentation, we submit it to them, and they do the analyzation of the income. But it is definitely much more arduous process than it was pre-COVID. And it probably will be for a while, but we'll probably start to see things loosen up a little bit, I would say by summer. Robin, do you have any opinion on that as well?
No, I mean, the unemployment numbers are still kind of staggeringly bad.
Right.
And really before this was put into place is because when this was new, February, March, even beginning of April, people were applying for mortgages because remember, we were almost in a panic because rates got so good, we could barely keep the
Right.
phone answered. And so many people tried to take advantage of that. And then within that, March, April is when everything hit the fan and all of a sudden people didn't have jobs and they didn't know it. So it wasn't that they were trying to pull fast ones here. Right. And so some of them still thought, you know what, I'm going to keep going forward because it doesn't hurt me to have a lower mortgage payment. But then that got into that area about you don't know when you're going back to work. And then also with some of the forbearance capabilities that came about, if you refinanced, you lost that ability to go take a benefit of that too. So
yeah, and in the beginning, as some of you have probably experienced, in the beginning of this process, we had loans that were near closing, and people would be laid off or furloughed days before the closing, and we couldn't close. So rightfully so, they went into panic mode. And I think they're still a little bit into panic mode because they're so worried about defaults and forbearance rates. But yeah, I think there's still kind of, we're in uncharted territory. We've never experienced this before. We've certainly had economic downturns before, but not so sudden as a result of something like this, the pandemic. So, I think everybody is in those positions of making those decisions. To a certain degree, we're all grasping at straws.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I mean, hopefully those unemployment numbers, I listen to NPR all the time, and I'm sure if you guys are reading any articles, you're seeing that. While I think we've seen a lot of businesses open back up and bring people back, like we brought back everyone that we furloughed that wanted to come back. It just hasn't been in the vast numbers that left the job market, forcibly. Had to leave the job market. So it's a good point. I also really want to remind, and I would love for you guys to remind us about what is the very special thing that Guaranteed Rate can give buyers right now through the end of March. Because I think that, when we talked about the spring, market and we talk about saving money, everybody should have this down pat on how to talk to their clients about it.
Right. $500 lender credit is, every little bit helps, and $500 is a decent amount of money, depending on the price point, but it's all relative, and it's $500 is $500. I don't know anyone that would turn it away, and it's just an added benefit to your buyers just for being a partner of Guaranteed Rate, for you guys being a partner of Guaranteed Rate. So it's really it's fairly simple. It's just a $500 credit. So whatever their closing costs are, when they get to the closing table, they're gonna come with $500 less than otherwise.
which is awesome and huge. And, you know, I know we were mentioning social media, but Doug and Robin, would you be willing to do like a YouTube or a Facebook or an Instagram quick video with any of our agents to pitch that out for them and help them get up more buyers and get you guys more business as well?
Absolutely, of course.
Sure thing. Mhm.
Okay, so
We also, Rachel, have the ability to create some flyers for you, co-branding, if you want to use it. We can't use those on our social media because we're only giving this offer to our Coldwell Banker people. You guys can, but we can go ahead and manipulate a file or two here and co-brand a really nice flyer if you want to send it out to your database. Just as an aside to what Doug was saying before, since 7:42 this morning, we've gotten 3 notices that prices were worsening. As of 1:22, the market's turned and we're way back above where we were opening yesterday. Back as of yesterday, we're up 11 basis points already, which just gives you an idea how volatile it is. But
yeah, right.
You know, but again, when we talk about how rates went up, I mean, we're still technically under 3%, so it's certainly nothing to lose sleep about.
Yeah, and on any given day, rate sheets are published usually around 10:30 a.m. And that usually is the rate sheet for the day. On volatile days, which we've not had in a few months anyway, but on volatile days, such as we've had just recently, we can have as many as 3, 4, 5 rate sheets in one day. That's how many times investors will adjust their rates because of what's happening in the bond market. Right. So it has an almost instantaneous effect on rates.
We actually took price worsenings after hours last night, which is hugely unusual. Yeah, you know, all of a sudden, I turned around from my computer and I looked back and there's 8 notices saying how many investors were repricing for the worse.
Yeah, so, that's very unusual. In all the years I've been doing this, I think I only remember that happening once before.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, when we say this, we're talking minute movement. You know, to us, a basis point is like, oh, you know, look at this. To you or to the general public, it might mean a difference of $25 in a credit that you can get over a 50. I mean, it's very minute. For us, we watch it very closely. For the general public, this is not a game changer for you guys at all.
Good to know. Sherry, you got a question?
Am I on?
Yep, you're on.
I can't tell on this. I was just going to suggest, since there's only 3 of us here today, us on the agent side, there's so much that we get. I mean, I read your Friday recaps because they're terrific. Because if, you know, I told someone today or the other day, if you miss something during the week, you always have that link to go listen to the session. It's fabulous, which I did over the weekend to your listing concierge because I wanted to remind myself of all the pieces in it, you know, and it was much better than listening to how do you use listing presentation. It was great. But I think this gets lost. This meeting gets lost in all those meetings we have. Can we just remind people with a separate email, the Gold Coast people separately from, you know, just because I don't think anybody knows that we're doing this. You know, they'll catch on eventually, but it might take 4 months, you know.
Yeah, no, good.
It's great just to have an informal, you know, talk like this, and you can attend or you can't attend. But I think the more people we get, the more conversation we can talk about. There'll be more about the market we can talk about. Don't you think?
No, I think that's great. And yes, Nikki and I can certainly start sending out those reminders individually to each office with the link in as a reminder.
Because people, I mean, I'm sure most people don't even realize, because someone asked me yesterday, what's the meeting we're having tomorrow? And, you know, so I had to explain to her, but she doesn't read anything, so I wasn't surprised. All right, thank you.
And we will incorporate those into our calls, of course, too. But real quick, Brian Brown with Burnett Title is on, and you know, while we're on the subject of with Guaranteed Rate offering the $500 closing cost credit to buyers, and really what one Coldwell Banker, like our one company, and all of the different tools we've touched on, Listing Concierge, our partners with GRA, but also with Burnett Title, you know, sellers are also looking for discounts and looking to be well taken care of and pay less money. And Burnett Title is really such a good partner with us and your clients because they're not going to charge as much as like a Chicago Title or Fidelity. And then you have that in-house resource. So Brian, I'll stop stealing your thunder. If you want to kind of update us on what you've seen with Title, year recap of last year, and then kind of what you guys are seeing moving forward into this year, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you. Well, recapping of last year, I mean, it really turned everybody's head around on what to do and how to do it. But actually, we grew and actually became more efficient in what we were doing. Learning how to adapt was one of the strongest traits I believe we were able to learn as a company. How to do closings, without everyone showing up. How to accommodate the attorneys and how to accommodate those clients who had to come and sign documents. But we're looking at continuing that growth by having more and additional locations to go to. We have all of the Coldwell Banker locations to close at. However, we are looking and venturing into adding additional locations because of the need. We believe it's going to be a strong market as well. Like Doug was talking about and Robin, we're also looking at it being a stronger market. So we want to accommodate everyone so they don't have to try to find a location. If they can't make it downtown, if they can make it to Lincoln Park, great. But if they can't, we're looking at a little further out. So that's one of the attributes that we're continuing to do is how can we be convenient for the clients? And we're also looking at more closers. We want to have the best people representing us, and we've had to learn that not everyone has the same mindset. So we've adjusted and we're able to grow with better representatives. We're going to continue to grow and get more people so we can do more closings. But we're looking for it to be very busy. We're here for you, and I want to reiterate my commitment to all of you.
Thanks.
Can I just tag on here to what Brian said? Is that I've been with the company just a year now, and it feels like it's only been a couple months because I've been home since February or March over this year. But I have to tell you what an absolute gift Burnett Title has been. They are a constant source of a resource for me. I've got a weird situation now that nobody could seem to figure out about how to escrow taxes for a home that the current inhabitant is not paying any taxes. So I called Brian's boss, Linda, yesterday, and we got on the phone and we talked it out there. In the middle of a closing, if I need something, I mean, they're answering their phone at 9 o'clock at night because some of our refi closings, of course, are out there. But just any kind of question, any kind of odd thing, Brian helped me with it was $800,000 condo sale last year in this office, and the taxes showed as $1,100 for Cook County. So clearly that was like, what the heck is happening? But Bernard helped me dig through that and figure out how to handle it. So I have just been just so pleased with their responsiveness. And, having worked with all the big ones before too is, you don't necessarily have the name of a person. We've had people that, go home at, when the clock strikes 5 and they're not going to call you until the next day. I mean, it's a whole different ballgame working with them.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's one of the attributes. Again, I've had 15 years of banking experience and I've been in mortgage and title. So that's also some of the experience that I bring, but we have an examiner and underwriter present in our Oak Brook office and attorneys who do commercial who will answer your questions. So we do stand out. We just have to have the opportunity for you all to utilize our services to get that feel. And Robin, please say that again on the next 5 or 6 calls. You too, Rachel. Thank you both.
It's from the heart. There was not a planned spiel there. That's from the heart.
No, I know. That's great.
I appreciate it.
I paid all of you guys on the side to be this complimentary of each other. Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much. I know there's not as many of us on this call, but obviously we do have the full hour. So I'd love if Maha, Mary, or Sherry, if you guys have any questions for us or you guys are seeing anything, but obviously I don't want to keep everybody to the hour. As Sherry mentioned, we don't have as many agents on this time, but this will be something that we'll continue to remind agents about, because if you think about one of the hardest parts about adjusting to the virtual world is conversations are kind of non-existent, right? The pre-meeting chatter, the post-meeting chatter is all gone. And so really we wanted this to be designed for our agents, for our partners to feel like this can be that chatter. We can have those conversations still. Virtually, it's not as great as in person, I know, but it is important moving into out of 2020 into 2021 to be able to have this space. So if you guys have any questions or thoughts or anything for us, we'd love to hear that.
Nobody is.
But it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't. We're not going to pull teeth. But Mary, it looks like you're on mute, and or Maha, I think.
Oh, yeah, I don't have any question, just in case if I remember to say something.
You know what I was going to I would tell them, you guys know, I check Prospect Square every month, because if I let it go out automatically every month, I have people who I've had on my sphere forever, like stop, they unsubscribe, and then I can't send them other things, you know. So like on InTouch, I mean, they drop out of my database. Although that's a question. If they unsubscribe to Prospect Square, do they drop out of my database for me to use on InTouch? Probably not.
The two, yeah, InTouch and Prospect Square aren't linked.
Okay.
Right now.
Well, anyway, because some of them I think are goofy, and you know, my clients don't care about getting, you know, I don't know, certain things I think are more suburban oriented, or they're just not things my clients are going to care about. But this one that went out this month in January, things to do to keep you busy until we can go on with our lives. I had 3 people tell me, what a great list. I'm going to send it to a friend of mine. It was great. I thought it was a terrific, you know, so stuff like that, you know, everybody can do, you know, use. But I know we have these contest things, and I never know, like, I guess we haven't had anybody win in our office that's using them. I don't know, because we used to hear that people won, and, you know, like Maha, you've given a few of those out.
Yeah, I won a couple.
Right. But I mean, what kind of response do you get? Like, well, you get a good response usually.
Oh, you know something? Actually, I call some of my clients, because I mean, everybody gets, like, you know, I don't know, more than 10 emails a day. So I call like the very close, like, clients who did business with me, and I say, you know, pay attention to this email. I will resend it. Sometimes I will resend like a couple times, you know, and fill out the form or enter, you know, the contest, and they will do, and that's how they win.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because everybody gets so much, unless it's something that they can relate to, they're not going to read it, you know. But I thought, who develops those?
So that would be the studio, which is our overarching name for the whole marketing department. And the studio is really broken up into 3 distinct areas. There's the design part of the studio. So they're coming up with all of the collateral, how it should look, how it should feel. Then we have the field marketing strategist. So we have the strategy, right? You guys all know Leah Scott. Many of you know Sarah Christensen as well. So she really handles that. And then there's the product side of the studio, which creates things like Listing Concierge, negotiates those contracts, creates things like Clients for Life, what we're talking about. So it's really, really robust. There's a lot of hands in it. But Maha, I love that, like calling your, you know, you get such good analytics with Clients for Life. You can literally go in and see who's received it but not opened it, who's opened it but not gone through it, who's opened it and clicked around and registered. And that's your hot, you know, your hot list of being able to call, like, hey, I know that you guys are thinking about remodeling your bathroom. Well, my company is auctioning off essentially a $100 gift card to Home Depot. And I don't know about you, but that would be great. Buy yourself a couple cans of paint. It's free to enter. I'd love for you to win. You know, I think it's something that's really powerful to use with those analytics.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if nobody has anything else, we can go ahead and end early, but thank you guys for being on.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Get more people involved.
Thank you.
We will.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
And have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.